Today we're here to celebrate the culmination of 14 years of work to open the doors for Knock Knock Children's Museum.
For so many years, we have been in fundraising mode, friend-raising mode, working to bring this wonderful, awesome facility to here to this park in City Brook Park. And we're so excited that we're in partnership with the Knock Knock Children's Museum Board of Directors and Friends Groups to be able to bring this awesome facility to this community.
The mission of the museum is to inspire lifelong learning through hands-on play, which basically means we have 18 learning zones designed for children ages 0 to 8 years old, which engage children in everything from STEM to art to nutrition and wellness, but they're all learning through play. So it really reinforces those lessons that they are seeing in the traditional classroom. In the building of this children's museums, we surveyed hundreds of children's museums across the country, and we worked with nationally recognized architects. So yes, we took the best of practices from different children's museums, and then we really decided to make it our own. So many of the things you'll find here you would never find anywhere else.
Children's museums around the country have really been innovators in the museum field, been pioneers in understanding how hands-on learning, tactile experiences, full body immersions into built environments just transport learning. So I think Knock Knock Children's Museum coming out into the opening today on August 22nd, 2017 is at the cutting edge, at the forefront of where we are with our built environments, with our hands-on exhibits that really propel children's learning.
It really started with one woman, Kelly Stevens, who was our founding board chair, who moved here from Houston. She had worked at Houston Children's Museum. She had small children, and she was really realizing at that moment what a huge gap there was in Baton Rouge in terms of hands-on learning through play and early education. So she assembled a volunteer corps of board members and other volunteers, and they worked really hard to make it happen.
I was asked to write a poem commemorating the grand opening of the museum. I have a 2-year-old son who's a big fan of the museum, and we came to get a preview. He's really excited to come back, of course, and I was really impressed with the program, so they didn't have to twist my arm too hard to get me to write something for it.
This is the largest children's museum in all of Louisiana. We have real easy access from Interstate 10, just across the lake here. We think Knock Knock Children's Museum will no doubt be a statewide destination for children from every parish. Distinguished guests, supporters, friends, welcome to 1900 Dalrymple Drive. My name is Peter Olson, and I'm the Executive Director of Knock Knock Children's Museum. On this beautiful, sunny Tuesday morning, August the 22nd, 2017, we are gathered here together to mark this occasion as officially opening Knock Knock Children's Museum to the world. We are also here to mark this location in beautiful City Brooks Community Park as Knock Knock Hill. Thank you for all being here. Well, today is our official grand opening ribbon cutting, and at 12 today we'll be welcoming the public in to play for free. For the last 3 weeks, we've actually been piloting operations through a series of pilot play dates and members-only previews. We really wanted to test out how the museum would work with a diverse array of audiences. Since our first pilot play date on July 27th, more than 4,200 visitors have tested our 18 learning zones, and nearly 800 families have purchased annual memberships. Since we started booking on August 1st, we have already taken 70 birthday party reservations and more than 80 field trips, and we're not even open yet. Like more than anything, we really wanted to test out, see, are we achieving our vision of creating a space where all families with young children, regardless of our perceived differences, would choose to come together and play together and learn together and actually have a good time doing so. And I am pleased to report that our proof of concept works. One brief example I'd like to share. On August 5th, we hosted our Knock Knock Neighborhood Day with 500 of our nearest neighbors. Staff and volunteers went knocking door to door, passing out invitation to our nearest neighbors on all sides of Knock Knock. It was important for us to welcome our nearest neighbors because we know that play transcends. It doesn't matter how much money you have or don't have. It doesn't matter how big your house is or what your zip code is. It doesn't matter whether you're popular or you're subjected to bullying. Everyone is made to feel welcome here at Knock Knock. And on our Knock Knock Neighborhood Day, the demographics inside of our building really did represent the great diversity of Baton Rouge. And I think everyone here on that day shared in the joy of playing together, the thrill of directing one's own learning. All of us together in the shared space, the shared safe space that is Knock Knock Children's Museum, and I think we all had a good time doing it. But don't take my word for it. I think we have some anxious play experts right in front of me here. I see some familiar faces. Has anybody in this group up here been inside and played? Yeah? Okay, I want to hear. We want to hear. What did you love most about playing inside Knock Knock?
I love the book climbing.
How about you? What did you love most about Knock Knock?
I love the book climbing and art.
Oh, the art. Who else has been here already? How about you? What did you love most about Knock Knock?
The book climbing and I love to dance.
I think we have a popular exhibit in there. Well, thank you. So, we have it from the words of our experts. Pretty soon we'll all be going in there and you'll experience it for yourself. But before that, looking out from our Lakeview Terrace, when you take in the majesty of the scenic benefit of this location, the inspiration that comes from the nature that we're in. At a recent board meeting, one of our board members shared that 20 years ago at this very spot, he was held up at gunpoint over a pair of tennis shoes. Collis Temple III, one of our great board members, was sharing his gratitude with our founders, Kelly Stevens and Cricket Gordon, for their perseverance and their vision in transforming this hilltop. And to everyone here who has contributed to this transformation, I thank you. And today, the Capital Region, Baton Rouge, we are choosing a new narrative, a new way forward, and a new view. One in which all of our children can play together in a safe, supported environment that's expertly designed and built just for children and those who care for them. Today and all days moving forward, Knock Knock Children's Museum can be that beacon on a hill, proclaiming to all that see it that we invest in our children, that this is a good place to raise your children. As a community, we can come together and create that shared sense of place, that just a year after the Great Flood, we are a resilient people, that we work together to create something beautiful and inspiring. And I know this group up here is chomping at the bit to get inside and get their play on, but we have some important people here who are going to share a few words first, so we're going to practice our impulse control. The frontal cortex is going to get a real good workout today. And when you hear these people speak, just think that once they were children just like you. And one day, you all grow up and you'll have your own jobs, your own careers, your own families. And by playing now, by reading lots of books, getting excited to learn, you can make an awesome career and a wonderful life for yourself. You could even be governor of the great state of Louisiana someday. So now it is my distinct honor to introduce the governor of Louisiana, John Bel Edwards, and First Lady Donna Edwards. Both are tireless advocates for early childhood education, music education, and children's well-being. I'd like to point out that the Louisiana First Foundation has generously sponsored the percussion instrument inside. Please join me in welcoming Governor John Bel Edwards and First Lady Donna Edwards.
Thank you, Peter. And I want you to know the First Lady donated that percussion instrument in there. Her feelings were hurt when y'all talked about your favorite parts of the museum, and nobody named the percussion instrument. Peter, thank you for the invitation. And I wish I had a good knock-knock joke for you. I don't, and what I'm about to tell you would have been better yesterday. But do y'all know how the moon cuts its hair? Eclipse it. All right. That's as good as it gets from me. I'm sorry. Look, this is an exciting, beautiful day, and for all of Baton Rouge, and I'm so pleased to be here with you all. And Peter got it exactly right. The crowd, these children, this opportunity here is all about celebrating the diversity of Baton Rouge and allowing people from all walks of life, no matter what zip code they live in, or what their parents earn, what color of their skin, to come together in a wholesome environment and learn not only about those exhibits, but learn about one another and how to get along. And we can't have too much of that in this world today. So I'm very pleased about what's taking place here. And I want to thank Cricket Gordon and Kelly Stevens. You know, they had a vision, and that vision came about a long time ago. And they were very persistent. And I know it's been a labor of love for them and all the citizens who envisioned this children's museum. And to put it up on this hill overlooking the beautiful lake there, I will tell you, this is exciting. The earliest years of life, as you all know, are critically important. They really shape to a large degree the entire life of our children. Brains are like sponges, and everything is new and ready to be absorbed. And too many kids in society today miss out on opportunities like this. Well, that's not going to happen here in Baton Rouge with respect to this excellent museum. You know, this has been under the works for a long time. In fact, the vision for this museum is older than some of these children right here. And I know that because they came to the legislature in my first term and talked about this museum. So I'm just excited to be here and share in this celebration. And I'm particularly excited about the learning zones that have been created in there. They're going to stimulate mental activity and growth in these kids. And I have no doubt, just like Peter said, that one of you could be governor of our great state one day. And we would be in great hands if that were to happen. I do want to thank my wife for being here, who, as First Lady, works very hard on initiatives like this to try to make sure that we're educating our kids, especially in music, art, and movement, which is why she donated that percussion instrument in there through the Louisiana First Foundation. And so if you all would, help me make welcome Donna Edwards.
Oh, happy day. I am so excited to be here with all of you. I'm going to keep it short because it is extremely warm out here. I just want to tell you about it. I guess it's been over a year and a half ago. Cricket she made an appointment, came to see me at the mansion. And if you know Cricket, her enthusiasm was enough. She sold me when she came through the door, really. She didn't know that. But when she showed me all the pictures of what was going to be and what they were excited about, and she asked me if I was interested, I was, and I'll tell you why. Cricket had a lot of the same inspirations and excitement that I had when we moved out back to Amite out of the military, where our kids were able to see so many wonderful things while in the military and exposed to all kinds of different opportunities and museums. And we came back to Amite, which is probably the size of one of the subdivisions here in Baton Rouge. But we came back and there was no playground. And so I was just astounded that our kids had an old metal slide that was bent. And so after about 5 years of just persistence, with the joining a civic organization and joining the men in our community, we actually built a beautiful playground that is still in existence today. So I felt her energy. I knew where it was coming from. I knew when you have a dream and you want more for your children, what can become of that. And so I had no doubt that this was going to be an amazing place, and I absolutely wanted to be a part of it, especially being a music teacher and educator and knowing how important music, art, and movement are to our kids and how little some of our schools have that within the schools. And so to know the experiences that I had and the early children development and to have exposure to all these wonderful things, I knew I had to be a part of it. So thank you for inviting me, and thank you for your vision, and thank you, Peter, for your direction. And I'm looking forward to going, and even though our youngest is 15, your imagination is still there, and you still have excitement and have fun. And we've already been through it, and it looks fabulous. I'm so excited to be a part of this today. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you both. And I'm not sure if you all know this, but the First Lady is a very talented piano player. Maybe if you ask her nicely, she'll perform on the percussion instrument when we go inside. Okay. Next up, Superintendent McKnight. We need to talk. This Saturday, our last members-only preview, more than 1,000 visitors came. And we had our parking lot filled up by 10 a.m. and our overflow parking filled up not long after, and we were shuttling from the tennis court as well. It's a good thing that our audience likes riding on school buses. So I think it's one of those good problems to have that at opening we're already talking about capacity. But I'd like to welcome Superintendent McKnight, who's a wonderful supporter of Knock Knock and the superintendent of the Breck Park system. Thank you.
I might have known that Peter would talk about parking when I first get to the podium. But yes, we do need additional parking, and we'll have to figure out how we get there. But thank you all for having us today. I would like to first start off by expressing my sincere appreciation to all of the local and state and federal elected officials who are here. Governor Edwards and your First Lady Edwards, thank you all for being here. Mayor Broom and all of that you do. You did so much when you were in the Senate to help us get this done, so thank you, Mayor, for all that you did. And also all of the local elected officials, would you just wave at the crowd? We thank you all so much. Former Mayor Holden, thank you for the donation that you gave. Thank you for your leadership. And certainly I want to express my appreciation to my board, who I have several of members of here today. Mr. Lloyd Benson, the chair, would you please wave at the crowd? Stand and wave at the crowd. Over there in the shade. Also, Reverend Shelton Dixon, who is the vice chair, would you please wave at the crowd? Mr. Larry Selders, I think I saw you back. Thank you. He's our treasurer. Mr. Davis Rohr, who's also a commissioner, and he serves at the pleasure of the mayor. Also, Mr. Washington, he serves at the pleasure of the Planning Commission. And Ms. Sandra Davis, who is Knock Knock Children's Museum Board Liaison from the commission. I would also like to thank my staff responsible for helping to make sure that the construction was on time and hopefully within budget as much as possible. Reed Richard, I know you're back there. Thank you, Reed. Jose Barrow, I haven't seen him, but he's been really on top of things. Also, Mike Amon. Mike, you were here from the beginning. Thank you for all that you did to make this project a reality. So we just want to say how much we appreciate and how honored we are to be a part of this momentous occasion today. This museum is for the fabulous children of our community, and we want to make sure that we play a major role in making certain that this facility the parking, all the things that we have here are things that you will enjoy. This is something that we've been talking about for years. I remember when I first came to Baton Rouge, the Knock Knock Children's Museum group approached me, and they were almost threatening from the standpoint of, you will do this, won't you? And I said, absolutely, because my boys grew up in museums in Dallas, and I know the value of learning that takes place in here. And we at BREC, we're all about learning and education and making sure that our kids are served. But I really want to express my appreciation to Stacy. Because Stacy challenged me. She said, you are a woman of faith. Now let's get this done. And we knew we didn't have all the money we needed to make it happen, but we knew that if we started the project, they would come. So thank you, Stacy, for pushing me off the cliff. And we are so grateful that you all are here. I would like to just say that we are going to play a major role in helping to facilitate programs here, helping to make sure that this museum is a success. We're so excited to be a part of it. It was a labor of love for me, and I know it was for my staff, and I look forward to working with all of you into the future. Thank you so much, and we appreciate your efforts.
Okay, hanging in there in the heat. We'll keep it moving. Next up, we have Asa Bolin, our current board chair. She joined the board in 2011 and has been a prolific fundraiser and guiding force in making Knock Knock truly special. As board chair, she's overseeing the massive grassroots effort with extensive partnerships to bring Knock Knock to fruition. Please help me in welcoming my good friend and board chair, Asa Bolin.
Thanks so much, Peter. You've yet again illustrated exactly why we wooed you here from Minnesota. Governor Edwards and Donna Edwards, thank you so much for your support of Knock Knock Children's Museum and your focus on early education. And last but certainly never least, BREC Superintendent Carolyn McKnight, thank you for your steadfast friendship and partnership. We promise to knock it out of the park as we play out our mission to be a community spark for engaging, playful learning experiences to inspire and support lifelong learning. In fact, I think we're well on our way. I'll share just a few of the comments made by those who've already experienced Knock Knock. On social media, a visitor wrote, "Thank you to the wonderful 91-year-old volunteer who guided my son in Story Tree." I think everyone's getting restless. I'm going to skip along. From the mother of an autistic preschooler to one of our art garden volunteers with tears in her eyes. Thank you so much. My child is really hesitant to try any sort of sensory activity. But here she is working on this collaborative collage, and we've had to change her apron 5 times. This has never happened before. The feel of the paint, the staff's approach, this has changed her life. And finally, from a father intently watching children of different color, of different backgrounds, work together to sort groceries in the Pelican pantry and figure out how to make change at the register. He looked at me and said, "This is a game changer for Baton Rouge. Knock Knock's going to be the driver for early education and the place our community can come to be one." So as just one of many who have worked to make this day a reality, I am truly honored to share these reflections with you. From my own thoughts on this occasion, it's really hard to know what to say on a day like this. It's the culmination of so many people's passion, and so I think I'll start at the beginning. Like many of life's great moments, Knock Knock Children's Museum started at a kitchen table. Founding board chair Kelly Stevens' kitchen table. And if you think about family life, the kitchen table is where we gather to recount the day's events, have tough conversations, work on projects, and celebrate each other's milestones. Kelly's kitchen table served all these same purposes for her family, but also for the very young Knock Knock family, where women, and ultimately a few, but very good men, gathered all determined to build a children's museum for the capital region that rivals any in the country. And although the board's formal meetings moved from Kelly's kitchen table to a traditional boardroom, borrowed no less, the everyday work of Knock Knock Children's Museum stayed at kitchen tables across Baton Rouge, where maker shop scribbling machines were tested by grandchildren, strategies for major gift proposals were drafted, construction budgets were analyzed, architectural drawings were tweaked, and more enthusiastic recruits were won. In this process, more than a few family dinners ended up coming from takeout instead of the stove, and more really good men, like Tim Bolin, encouraged us all to push on despite the inconveniences for our families, because it was never just about our families. Knock Knock's always been about all families, with children's at the center. Those families who are considering relocating to Baton Rouge and wondering what our great city has to offer their young children, that are looking for ways to engage their children's young minds outside of the classroom, and always for those families whose children may never have the opportunity to walk into a magical place like Knock Knock because of barriers like financial hardship. Symbolic of the founder's vision to meet the needs of all children, it is fate that this fantastical building is sited on Knock Knock Hill in Breck's historic city park, with our front door open and our sidewalks connecting to neighborhoods on both sides. And so in time, the hard work of Knock Knock has spread from the kitchen tables of volunteers and one incredibly dedicated project director to those of our remarkable and visionary partners and donors who discussed our request for funding over those tables and said yes, to the kitchen tables of a new executive director and his very dedicated staff. And now to our recent visitors' kitchen tables, where families work together to recreate the maker shop scribbling machines with materials they find at home and talk about that spectacular perch in the clouds from top of Storybook Climber. But what's so remarkable to me is the sheer number of people who have given and continue to give their time, old keys, fabrics, recycled keyboards, financial support, and their own kitchen table space to open these huge doors of learning through play. The legacy of Knock Knock Children's Museum is that it truly is a community project for all children in our community, built by our community. So in closing, to our Knock Knock family, which is growing by the hundreds, thank you for filling such a huge need in the capital region. And to those of you who haven't already joined this lively crew, we invite you to pull up a chair at Knock Knock's big kitchen table, because it's a seat you won't regret. The conversation is always inspiring. The work is so rewarding. And the best part is everyone is welcome. Thank you so much.
Okay, we have our last speaker of the day, and I just say that opening Knock Knock Children's Museum is one of those experiences that's very difficult to put into words. So when you can't put things into words, you got to find an artist who can. Today we're thrilled to have renowned spoken word artist, Chancellor Zero Skidmore, here to share an original poem inspired by Knock Knock Children's Museum. Zero has been the individual World Poetry Slam Festival champion. Just as importantly, he and his 2-year-old son have played in every learning zone in Knock Knock. Please join me in welcoming Chancellor Zero Skidmore.
Thank you. I'll be as brief as possible. It is so hot out here. All right, so Poetry Slam 101, if you hear a line that you like, you snap your fingers. Any line, right? And if you hear a line that you don't like, you make a donation to Knock Knock so that we don't raise bad poets. All right. This is called Making a Small Entrance. I want to enter every room like a 1-year-old. I want the word permission to be the vague punchline of a joke whispered in an alien language across the street from a marching band. I want to be unarmed, reaching for the first shiny trinket that sings my name. I want to feed your angry Rottweiler with the palm of my delicious-looking little hand. Go exploring under your desk and make your crumpled sheet of paper my most beloved gadget. I want to enter every room like a one-year-old. I want to freeze in amazement at how carpety your carpet feels between my toes. I want to run my fingers along the wood panels of your wall and feel the ridges play a drum roll on my fingertips. I want to not judge you for those wood panel walls. I want to divide my attention between the insurance commercial on TV, the ladybug on your window pane, and the book climbing exhibit. And the percussion exhibit. I want to cry real tears for you to hand over your Apple Watch, even though I don't know that that's what it's called. Don't know how long I'd want to play with it. Don't know how one might use it to measure how long I'd like to play with it. I want to enter every room like a one-year-old, without my chin hung too low or held too high, ready to assess the environment based only on what I touch, smell, see, hear, and taste. I want to be a foreigner to the land of mythology and stereotypes. My only opinion will be that I prefer to be on this side of the door and not the other. Eyes fully open, moving at a steady pace, curious without dying to know, without a guiding notion that this room contains the one key to my joy or the one arrow that knows how I hide. To knock on the door of a house is to ask to be counted among its contents. To walk over its threshold is to count on its load-bearing walls. I've paced up and down too many hallways, either dreading how long I'll be chained to my seat or strategizing how to hold everyone else captive. I'd like to move about the world as gullibly happy as my baby boy is, when he's not crying for my Apple Watch. And I want to treasure my watch as much as he does, while ignoring time's scarcity as he does. Every so often, I'd like to confidently stumble into the room like it's only filled with aunts and grandmothers and cousins. Not like I own it, but like we all own it together. And I am among the contents that are most treasured. Thank you.
Bravo. Thank you for putting into words so beautifully what we all feel about Knock Knock. Now just think, all of you down here in front, you could grow up and someday be a poet. You could be a governor, you could be a music teacher, you could run parks, you could raise family, you could raise money for important causes, or you could even work in a children's museum. Isn't that what it's all about? That today we are celebrating our greatest assets. Today we're celebrating giving our children a chance at a better future, giving Baton Rouge a better view and a clearer sense of place. Thank you all for making that possible today.
Knock, knock. Who's there? Let us. Let us in. Let us in!
How do you feel now as it's actually opening?
Cricket will tell you, but I cry every day. It just is so exciting to me that what we've been able to do means kids are going to come from all over this community and play together, because that's the only way that we're going to all come together as a community.
It's one really of gratitude, because we didn't do this alone. We did this with the help of the community, and this was a real grassroots project from the very beginning. I knew the gap in learning that existed in this city as a community health nurse, and my husband as a pediatrician at Earl K. Long, and I wanted to move the mark to make it all children ready for kindergarten in our community. And this museum will definitely help move the mark.
I'm excited about it. I can't wait. I think I enjoyed it just as much as my son did, and I look forward to coming back. I only live a few blocks away, so I'm really excited for it to be in the neighborhood. Hopefully to be accessible to everybody throughout the city and throughout the state.
As a parent, it's wonderful to have an activity to take your child to. Doesn't involve sitting on a device, doesn't involve watching a TV. It involves them interacting in a way which just stirs their brain to grow a little bit. And then as I transition into being a physician, we know when a child is stimulated, neurons are laid down in their brain. Their brain becomes, if you will, bigger, more capable. And it's particularly important, in fact, critical for this to be with younger children. This will help your child's brain bring your child to this.
Bringing young people to museums, all types of museums, is a way to broaden their minds at a very early age, to get them to see a bigger world, and to stoke that curiosity that they're naturally born with. And we really want to do that for purposes of fulfilling them, fulfilling their lifestyle, their quality of life, but also their educational potential as well.
What's your reaction when you take a look at the finished product?
It's almost unbelievable, but it's way better than I expected. I'm so excited that we're here. I'm so excited that we have so many people who are excited. There's so much buzz in the community about it, and it's just a great day for Baton Rouge. I think it's clear that we have a major commitment to our children, to our early childhood learning experiences, to making sure that we make these kids have the best experience possible.
It's overwhelming. It's surreal. I've been working on this project now for 8 years and just happened to hit at the moment as board chair during this day. But for all of us, it's so much about more than just about me. It's about everybody that's worked on this project. So to see these children here today, to see the donors, to see the volunteers, and now 45 staff members, which we've never had before, come together to celebrate this, it's a huge moment.
If people have questions like more information, what should they do?
They can go to our website at knockknockmuseum.org and certainly look us up and give us a call as well.